Today, the president addressed the nation to speak about the country's downing of Chinese spy balloons that floated across the U.S.
He also spoke about the current relations between the two countries, saying the U.S. is not looking for a new Cold War with China.
But could we already be in one? Our Philip Ward went to Mercyhurst University today and talked with an expert about this subject. Philip, what are you learning this evening?
Good evening, Mike and Emily. Well, competition, not conflict. That's the phrase the president used as he described the relations between the U.S. and China. But as for a Cold War, the president says we don't want one. Maybe we're already in one. Well, I asked Professor Fred Hoffman tonight those very questions.
Every 10 hours, the FBI opens up a new counterintelligence investigation on a Chinese entity.
Professor Hoffman warns about the threat of the Chinese government. But are we in a Cold War?
We are in a competitive state with China. This in Russian says together we're invincible.
He says the relations with China are more serious than just being a Cold War.
With the former Soviet Union, it was one-dimensional. With China, it's economic. They want Taiwan, and we don't want them to just grab Taiwan. It's a multifaceted competition.
And if you're an everyday citizen, what can you do to protect yourself from the threat of the Chinese government?
Well, one is don't stay off of TikTok. The second is just be aware that China has got a systematic approach to acquiring intellectual property, that there is a potential for a military conflict over Taiwan in the future. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen.
But if there were to be a conflict, one local veteran says our military is more than capable of handling it.
We have the strongest, smartest, most well-equipped military in the world. We showed it over many, many years of many wars.
And Professor Hoffman also telling me that it's not really about stopping China's advancements, both technologically and militarily. It's about mitigating them, which is something that he says the United States government needs to pay very close attention to. Live in the studio, Philip Ward, Erie News Now.